Google uses formal and informal feedback system to evaluate their employees. Here, an employee's immediate manager's report and individual reports are considered for the performance evaluation. Google uses 360-degree review method as its formal system of evaluation. The employees can also select 3 or more officials to review his or her performance. These reviews are made twice a year and these reviews have impact on employees' bonus. Apart from this, the regular checking of the performance is a form of informal feedback system and they are more comprehensive than a formal review which is performed twice a year. This is as per the report of NYU IBA 2008. Let's see what other companies are using. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Vijay. I welcome you to our lecture on performance methods or tools. The major outcome of the lecture includes that you should be able to differentiate the different performance appraisal, develop and evaluate the different performance tools or methods, and discuss the pros and cons of using different methods of performance appraisal. In the end, you will also be able to take a quiz to check your learning. Before moving to today's lecture, let's see what we have already covered in performance appraisal. Till now, we have discussed about performance management, performance appraisal and the comparison or difference between the two, and the process of performance appraisal under the lecture titled Performance Management and Appraisal. Apart from this, we have covered the problem of appraiser or rater, solution of problem of appraiser or rater, who is appraiser or rater. These are covered in lecture titled Problems of Appraiser or Rater and Their Solutions. Please note, in these lectures, we answered certain questions as who will do the appraisal or who is an appraiser or rater, what is to be measured, problems faced while conducting the appraisals and their solutions. Now we are on to the methods of performance appraisal, or in this lecture we'll try to answer how to do the appraisal. Let's move to our different methods or tools of performance appraisal. Some of the methods or tools are employee ranking, force distribution, graphic rating scales, critical incidents, management by objective, behavioral anchored rating scale, also abbreviated as BAS, and 360-degree feedback, etc. Do you know which method HP uses for the appraisal, or GE or McDonald's? Let's try to answer. The first one is employee ranking and alternation ranking method. In this, we rank employees from best to worst on a trait or traits. Since it is very easy to distinguish between best or worst, we will also be discussing about alternation ranking method. Alright, let's see how we make or proceed with this tool. At first, we'll list all employees to be rated. Then on a form like figure 1 on your left, we'll place the name of the employee who is highest in a trait or traits, then who's second highest, and so on till we reach to the last employee to be rated. Alright. Here, in case of alternation ranking method, we follow the same procedure of ranking from highest to lowest or best to worst, but the procedure is little different. In this, we choose highest ranked employee, then lowest ranked employee, then second highest ranked employee, and second last lowest employee until all are ranked. Alright, hope you are clear with the two methods. If we talk about the benefits and drawbacks of ranking method, we can say it is easy to do. It also provides quantitative ranking, but the problem of halo effect and central tendency, etc. continues to exist in it. Let's move to our second tool for performance appraisal. In forced distribution, we place predetermined percentages of ratees into different performance categories. For example, you may decide to divide employees into following categories like 15% high performer, 20% high to average performer, 30% average performers, 20% below average, and 10% low performer. Please note, these categories may vary from company to company. Like General Electric or GE, which is an American multinational, it adopted the forced distribution method in 1980s. They are First one to adopt it, Jack Welch, who was the chairman and CEO of General Electric at that time, wanted to reduce the company's workforce. And by using force distribution, he regularly cut down employees' number by firing poor performers. GE uses top 20%, middle 70%, and bottom 10% for managers. Then the question is raised as how the force distribution is worked upon. For this, let's understand its process. At first, we'll write each employee's name on separate cards for which force distribution is to be performed. Then we'll place the card in appropriate category. Like in GE, there are 3 categories: top 20, middle 70, and bottom 10%. Okay. Please understand, we'll place these cards into different categories for different traits of employee. Different traits may include quality of work, timeliness, creativity, etc. Let's understand this with an example. Let's say Mr. Ram works in GE company and he needs to be appraised on timeliness and creativity. At first, 2 cards will be prepared for Mr. Ram and then they'll be placed in different categories. Let's say Ram is placed in top 20% on creativity, and for timeliness he is placed in second category, that is middle 70%. Alright. There are certain pros and cons to this method. Force distribution makes it easier or possible to identify the best employees. Okay. However, the error of central tendency may occur as the rater may place the employees in middle. Okay. Let's move to other appraisal methods. Then we have graphic rating scale. It is one of the simplest and mostly used scale. In this, a list of traits like job knowledge, productivity, reliability, etc., and a range of rating that could be outstanding, very good, good, etc. for each trait is created. You can see a graphic rating scale in figure 2 on the left side of the screen with 2 factors, namely job knowledge and productivity. Here you can have any number of traits which you want to appraise. Okay. Similarly, rating in the form of outstanding, very good, good, average, poor, and not rated are also visible in the scale. The rating has also been given the values, like for outstanding, it is between 90 to 100. For good, it is between 80 to 90, and so on. Once we are done with the preparation of the scale, the rater take the rating that best describes the performance of the employee and gives scores like 95 may be given to an employee in job knowledge. Okay. And the rater or appraiser will also place the supportive comments for a particular rating and score. Finally, we make a total of assigned values. Graphic rating scale helps us in quantification of the trait or skills while appraising, and also permits a ready comparison of the scores among employees. However, the main drawback of this scale is that the rater may be biased. Okay. Further, we have critical incident. It is a task analysis technique where the supervisor keeps record of both positive and negative exceptional behavior of his subordinate during work and appraise accordingly. To identify the critical behavior, we shall observe certain characteristics of the behavior so that we can include that behavior in performance appraisal. Basically, to say, if the behavior of subordinate hold the below mentioned characteristics, we can include that behavior under critical incident category and the assessment could be carried, else not. The behavior shall have following characteristic. The first is it should be specific. Okay. Then we have the behavior is observable. By observable, we mean that the behavior is identifiable and has been or could be exhibited on the job. Alright. The third characteristic is that the behavior clearly describes that it was performed in the job. To understand this point, let's take an example. Let Mr. Ram works in the electrical department of a company. His job is to correct the faults as early as possible. Let's say there got a fault in electricity on a pole as reflected in the figure. During this task, he needs to climb the pole with ladder or on crane, etc. Second step would be to identify the fault and finally correct the fault. Alright. Now let's say in these actions, if Mr. Ram is seen fearing to climb the pole, that's an exceptional behavior of an electrician, and because of that he could not complete his task. That's a critical incident and will be recorded by his supervisor and will be used in his performance appraisal. Okay, now see, this critical behavior is a part of his job. Now you are clear about the third characteristic, that is, the behavior clearly describes that it was performed in that job. The last characteristic is consequences of the behavior are clear. Consequences may be positive or negative. Here in our recent example, the consequences or results of Mr. Ram's fear to climb the pole leads to failure in the task. Alright. The best thing of this method is that it provides actual examples of good or poor performance of individual, however without some numerical ratings, as only critical incidents are noted. Okay, it becomes difficult to compare employees' performance or to make decisions pertaining to increase in their salaries after assessment. The fifth appraisal method or tool is management by objective. There are three main things when we refer to MBO. The first one is that the manager sets specific measurable objective or goals for each employee and periodically discuss their performance in comparison to the objective set. Then the second is that the MBO is essentially result oriented, or we can say our focus is on end result or output. Here in MBO we say it is a management system that stresses on objectives or goals rather than methods. Okay, and finally it provides accountability to employees while setting their goals to be achieved. Alright, now let's understand how it works. The process of MBO has 6 steps. Broadly speaking, in MBO, we try to narrow down the company's plans and objectives to individual level and trace the performance of individuals in terms of organizational objectives. Let's understand this. At first, we have established organizational objectives or goals. Here we set organizational goals on the basis of vision, mission, and strategic plans of the organization. The second step is establish department objectives. Once the organizational goals are set for a particular year, in order to achieve that, we need to align the department to work in congruence of organizational goals, and here we set the departmental goals. Okay. At third level, the department head discuss the organizational goals with the employees and ask the employees to set their goals so that the organizational objectives can be attained. Then the department head along with the employees set short-term individual target of different employees of the concerned department. At fifth stage, department head compares each employee's actual and targeted performance once they have been provided or been given the short-term individual target in our previous level. Okay. Finally, the employee's performance is evaluated and he or she is given the feedback. Please note, if the performance of the employee is low, that is less than the target set, we'll move to our third step, that is discuss objectives with employees, and the process will be repeated thereafter. The major problem with MBO, or we can say the drawback of MBO, are the first is that the objective or goal set are unmeasurable. That is, the goals are not quantitative in nature. Okay. The second is it's time consuming. And the third is, while setting short-term individual targets, sometimes it gets converted into a tug of war, and the employees are like that, why is such targets being given to us? However, the best thing about MBO is that it gives clear understanding of roles and responsibilities of the employees. It also helps in anticipation of the problems before they actually comes, as discussions with employees and regular reviews carried. HP, that is Hawlett, Packard, Xerox and Intel uses MBO. BARS or Behavioral Anchored Rating Scale, it is an appraisal method that aims to combine the benefit of narratives or behavior, critical incidents and quantified rating by combining a quantified scale with specific behavior. The behavior could be an example of good, average or poor performance. Please understand, we are saying is that while we are going to make BARS, we'll try to quantify the behavior of employees on critical incidents. Alright, you will have better learning when we'll see the BARS on salesmanship skills. To construct BAR, we need to follow these 5 steps. The first stage, the first stage to collect or identify the critical incidents. In this, we shall ask from the person who knows the job exactly. Then in developing performance dimensions, we'll cluster or club incident into smaller set of performance dimensions like salesmanship skills, or other performance dimension could be knowledge and judgment, etc. At third step, another group of people who also knows the job reallocate and reassign the different incidents into different clusters according to their best fits. Alright? At fourth stage, again, this second group will give rating to the behavior as to how effectively or ineffectively it represents the performance. Finally, it is framed into a final scale. Okay. Please take a note, bars are normally presented vertically with scale points ranging from 5 to 9. Let's understand bars by taking salesmanship skills. Now see, we have created a BARS for salesmanship skills. It is a 5-point scale. As we have already discussed here, you can see the behavior of an employee during his job and the rating given to the specific behavior. The rate has been given from 1 to 5, where 1 is the least preferred behavior and 5 is the most preferred behavior. This is a range of 5, as we have already discussed that the rating could be given in bars from 5 to 9. This is a 5 scale bars tool. Okay, let's see why a behavior is rated as 5 and another at 4 and so on. At 5, you can see that the employee always follow orders of senior, is available to meet with clients, helps other salesmen in handling difficult clients and follow company procedures. However, at 4, he or she always follow orders, available to meet with clients, but don't help other salesmanship, but he continues to follow the company procedure. Similarly, other behaviors are rated at 3, 4, 2 and 1. Hope you are clear as how to create a bars. We can create different bars for different performance dimensions. Now, once an employee is rated on different bars for different skills, then an average of his performance on the basis of different rates granted to him, and he or she is appraised accordingly. Okay, whatever has been collected, they'll be averaged and the person will be appraised accordingly. The main disadvantage of bars is that it is very time consuming. However, it has many advantages, like it is a very accurate method, independent skills can be rated, and the quantification of behavior is possible. BARS is used by US Army doctors and nurses. It is also suggested that the supermarket and hypermarket like Big Bazaar, Easy Days should also use this method. Then we have our last tool for discussion here in the lecture, that is 360-degree feedback method or tools. It is a systematic collection of performance data on an individual or group derived from a number of stakeholders, that is immediate supervisors, team members, customers, peers, and self. You see, the self is also considered under 360-degree feedback method. Structured questionnaires are used to collect responses from the employee. Let's understand how we carry 360-degree feedback. In 360-degree feedback, all the stakeholders are requested to give their assessment through structured questionnaire. The responses that are received are presented to employees through charts and graphs. Then the counseling sessions are arranged with the employees to remove the weakness identified via this method. Alright, there are many companies who uses this tool like McDonald's, Reliance Industries Limited, Wipro, Infosys, AT&T, etc. The major benefit of 360-degree feedback is that it empowers the subordinates when they appraise their bosses. It also helps in revealing the strength and weaknesses of an employee. Okay, the major drawback is that it ignores performance in terms of goals. As we have already discussed in case of MBO, it is also observed that the responses from colleagues are biased, and finally, the peer or subordinate may not be competent to appraise their seniors. With this, we wind up our performance appraisal methods and tools. Now let's check our learning. Can we match the following? What kind of performance appraisal is used by McD? And how about GE and HP? Reliance, AT&T or US Army Doctors? All these are already discussed in the lecture. You can have your answer keys in description box also. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. Feel free to write to us. Thanks for patience learning. Thank you. Thank you very much.